Hello, welcome to this update for North America. Let's see what's happening with the severe weather, plus the tropics near the southeast. So, uh, for the severe weather first, we had like mainly yesterday, July 2nd, this light risk in Montana, and there's some storms still happening. But today, for July 3rd, we do have a slight risk in the northeast and in spots of North Dakota and to Minnesota as well. So let's see what will happen with the storms. There's also marginal risk in the upper Midwest and more spots in the Northeast, kind of mid-Atlantic. So some general storms, spots of the southern plains in the west and the southeast. So scared severe thunderstorms can produce severe damaging winds and hail are forecast across parts of the northeast and northern plains today, and large hail possible. So be careful in those areas. Let's see in the northeast. So an upper trough with an embedded 4H 50 knot mid-level speed maximum will prevail across the northeast today. The related surface cold front will likewise develop eastward across this region through the afternoon and evening. Filter daytime heating and a seasonally moist low-level air mass will support the development moderate stability along and ahead of the cold front by late morning and early afternoon, aided by the enhanced mid-level flow. Deep layer shear will likely be strong enough to support updraft organization, including a mix of multi-cells, perhaps some supercells scared, damaging winds, and should be the primary severe threat as low-level lapse rates are gradually steepen, but some large hail may also occur given the variable shear, especially if any supercells can be sustained. Slight risk has been expanded northward to include more New England. Recent guidance trends show potential for organized severe convection along and ahead much the length of the front. So be careful those areas in the northeast. So they're still in the northern plains as well. An upper ridge persist over much of the plains today, and even so, weak mid-level disturbance forecast to advance eastward from Montana across the northern plains this afternoon and evening. And on the northern periphery of the upper ridge, this feature should encourage isolated to scare intense thunderstorm development along and near the warm front extending across parts of North Dakota by late afternoon and early evening. Moderate strong stability is expected along and near this boundary, aided by steep lapse rates aloft. Modest low levels suddenly flows forecast gradually veer and strengthen with height through mid upper levels. This will support sufficient deep layer shear 30 to 4 knots for organized convection, including some supercells gradually across western central North Dakota. The supercells should pose a threat for large hail, and some of which may be larger than 2 inches in diameter, given a rather favorable thermodynamic environment forecast. So let's see. With this time in the evening, there may be some potential for upscale growth into small Boeing cluster eastward extending to central eastern North Dakota. If this mode transition occurs, then the severe damaging wind threats would likely increase, although low-level flows will remain fairly modest. And a tornado or two also appears possible, particularly along the front, where effective shear should be locally enhanced. So be careful in those areas. And there's the upper Midwest, the marginal risk as well. So especially like some isolated strong severe storms, some more like damaging wind threats, and some large hail. So be careful in those areas. The tornado threat is 2% along those areas of North Dakota. So be careful. There's wind. 5 or 15% in all those areas, especially in the Northeast and into North Dakota. And there's some hail too, especially in some 5% in the Northeast, in the Midwest, and 15% in North Dakota. Especially this hatched area for potential some very large hail central to western North Dakota. So stay safe in those areas today. Be careful. And like There's here the herd, the updraft listed does show those areas like the Northeast into Eastern Canada, especially across Maine, some more tracks, not showing anything too crazy, but does show a thing or two New York, to Vermont, especially across Maine, but shows some more tracks into Quebec and New Brunswick to watch for some stronger storms. So be careful. The herd doesn't seem too excited about the northern plains, but it does show into Montana, North Dakota, and spots in maybe Wyoming, a storm or two as well. But it doesn't appear too excited, but it's still like 3Z, so some storms might occur after that in the evening as well. So be careful in those areas. And the 0Z her until Saturday did show some very big signals, not big, but like moderate North Dakota and to Minnesota. So it did show some stronger storms there and in the Northeast as well, into Eastern Canada, especially in southern Quebec. So the 0Z Hirsch shows some wild things in Idaho as well. So be careful in those areas. So let's just go here to Friday morning instead of Saturday. So until Friday morning doesn't show anything too crazy in Idaho nor North Dakota. That's indicating that those storms, there might be stronger ones tomorrow afternoon, Friday. So, but just today, Thursday, shows some more signs later in the evening in North Dakota. So stay safe in those areas and be careful. But until Saturday, does show some more potential stuff in Idaho, North Dakota again. So be careful in those areas and shows here like Thursday evening, like 23Z, does show some supercell composite higher across North Dakota and to Minnesota. And the Northeast, like a whisper too, but not really. So this area of the plains better watch more because it's higher there, the supercell composite. There's here the significant tornado parameter. Nothing too crazy, but the hurry is indicating something like 2.4 there across southern North Dakota. Storms might be slightly further north and west than that, but better to watch those areas. By Tuesday in the evening, does increase central North Dakota into Minnesota, some slight tornado parameters as well. So be careful in those areas and yeah, stay safe. The mid-level lapse rates are quite elevated in some spots North Dakota, choose some 8.2 degrees. So be careful in those areas. The Northeast kind of, but not as high as the plains. So we'll keep watching those areas. There's the her here itself shows like first in the Northeast pair, shows like where is it here? Shows a few storms ahead of the front there. This goes, but especially later as the front comes across Vermont, New York, shows some stronger storms in Maine. So there might be some very strong storms in Maine as well. Be careful. New Hampshire, a few storms as well, and some later, some isolated evening storms in New York, into Connecticut, even northern Pennsylvania, so stay safe in those areas. Further north in Canada does show southeast and most Ontario, but especially southern Quebec, some stronger to severe storms. So be careful in those areas. And New Brunswick should have some very strong storms as well. So stay safe in those areas. Be careful. Shows in the northern plains as well. Like today, a few showers ahead of the storms, but does show later in the evening. They kind of start in Wyoming, Montana, and then go into North Dakota, some stronger ones. Then Friday shows like central North Dakota. Not Friday, it's like this evening because like after 0Z, so shows like still late in the afternoon to the evening, central North Dakota, some stronger storms, and does show some the upper Midwest as well. Wisconsin into Illinois, the hurricane showing some possible damage in winds and hail. So stay safe in those areas, especially North Dakota and to those areas there. Later Friday, the does show storms further north into Saskatchewan and Manitoba, especially Manitoba into Ontario. Possible stronger storms in Ontario Friday evening. So be careful in those areas. especially those storms there. So this is only day one. So day two for Friday shows here they only have this marginal risk for now across Kansas into Nebraska and South Dakota, Minnesota, Wisconsin, North Dakota, and parts of Michigan. So be careful in those areas. But if those trends from the hurricane continue, there might be a marginal in Idaho as well, like I showed you, or maybe a slight twist, but I don't think this might be just a margin. It might expand a little bit tomorrow in North Dakota. So be aware in those areas. There's actually a wide tornado threat for Friday, 2% there across Wisconsin, most of Minnesota, and to South Dakota, the eastern half, the eastern part of South North Dakota, and parts of the upper Michigan Peninsula. So be careful. In hail, less than 5%. So scared strong severe storms expected across parts of the northern plains, upper Midwest on Friday, so be careful tomorrow in those areas. There's still this strong upper trough move of the northeast corners into the western Atlantic on Friday. Meanwhile, a ridge will move across the Great Lakes with a trough across the northern plains to the upper Midwest. Additional mid-level trough will move across the northwest. So yeah, be careful Friday. Saturday, there's too marginal risk in the central high plains and spots of the upper Midwest still for Saturday, so 5% chance of strong severe storms and also some storms in the southeast as well. So, and actually strong severe storms give severe in gusts and possible because the upper Midwest and central high plains on Saturday. So be careful in those areas and it does show, yeah, so stay safe. So day 4 through 8 still nothing, but there's some elevated fire still. So there's this wide area of possible dry thunderstorms from California to Colorado. So be careful in those areas in case there's a dry thunderstorm or two and the elevated fire in Nevada. So there's here still for tomorrow some elevated the Great Basin. So be careful those areas does show here still some excessive rainfall, slight risk of excessive rainfall across Texas, New Mexico, and Arizona because of that heavy rain from Mexico. So be careful in those areas and slight risk array in Florida for until 12Z. So this until 12Z, so it's not day one yet. Day one is this even bigger slight risk, Texas and New Mexico. So be careful in those areas. A marginal in the Ozarks, spots the Midwest, Northern Plains, and big part in portions of the central Southwest, and slight risk in Florida area into Georgia, a marginal risk in South Carolina. Day two, a slight risk North Dakota into Minnesota. For Friday, be careful marginal in Florida, Texas, and the Northwest too. There's day three for Saturday across South Carolina, spots of Georgia and Florida in the upper Midwest. For Sunday, still shows this very wild marginal from New Mexico to Michigan, the southeast, and day 5. This marginal in the southwest is all the way from Oklahoma to Maine, like this very narrow corridor, and spots of the northern plains in the east coast. So be careful in those areas. Does show as this low pressure goes off into the Atlantic, close to 10 inches of rain there in the ocean, but overland doesn't show that much. Just in North Carolina, close to 2 to 3 inches in a spot or two. In Florida, 3 to 4 inches, more spots of Florida. So be careful, but does show close to 3 inches or 3.5 inches North Dakota and to Minnesota. So be aware, more spots in the plains, some more showers and storms, spots in the south, mainly central to western Texas, New Mexico, some more storms. California is very dry, in Washington as well, the coast of Oregon, but further inland, a few more storms. So be aware, those areas shows across southern central Canada as well. So be careful those areas, and yeah, there's this cool map as well, the front. This is 18C Thursday, shows the front to the northeast there from that trough, and more rain across the southwest as well. So stay safe in those areas. And these colors here, there's like this reddish in the northeast. This indicates those strong storms there. 0Z Friday and into the plains. So yeah, stay safe. And here there's still some some major heat risk in many spots across the northern plains today. So stay safe in those areas. Spots to the south as well. The show Friday, this moves further east as that ridge moves further east to the Midwest with some more major heat risks. Saturday, further into Michigan to the Midwest. Some moderate in the southwest and the central areas too. Sunday shows more to the northeast, some major heat risk for Monday, still across northeast. Tuesday, in the southeast, moderate to major, and on the west as well. The shows spots of extreme in Arizona Tuesday, and then Wednesday still shows some major and extreme scared spots of the west and the south. So be careful that heat as well. So here for this, just one more thing for these storms, I didn't show the Cape before. So there's like in North Dakota shows as high as 3,000 joules per kilogram a few spots in North Dakota, into the Northeast like 500 to 2,000 joules per kilogram, a few darker red spots to 2,000 remaining in the 1,000 to 1,500 range. So be careful, but especially the northern plains, very high. Cape later does go up to like 4,000 joules per kilogram in a few spots, and tomorrow more. So stay safe in those areas. Be careful. They're still here. These temperatures in the high 90s, especially South Dakota, close to 100 in a few spots, some hundreds in the southwest still. In the valleys and near like Arizona, California, some 90s in the south and east as well. So be careful. During the night, still kind of hot in the southeast, southwest, and the south, and slightly less in the mountains, slightly cooler in the high elevations, and northernmost Minnesota, some 50s. So be careful. They're still during the day. For Friday, some 106 in Arizona, or even higher in California. Shows like some 90s across the Midwest, 97 even. And like there's for what's happening for Friday for Friday morning does show across those areas. The rock is slightly cooler, but still some 84 during the night in Arizona, some 83 to 84, so still very hot during the night spot to the south as well. So stay safe. There's Saturday afternoon, July 5th, some like some 90s in the south, even to 97, Louisiana, Texas, 108 in the southwest. So be careful. Those areas, some 90s, the southeast, the upper Midwest, like central-ish Midwest. So stay safe, some 8 is in the northeast. This is Saturday morning. Shows slightly less in the Rockies, of course. Some 85 in Arizona during the night. Please be careful in the south. Very hot as well. So stay safe in those areas. And then after Sunday starts climbing on the west again. Some 91 in Washington, some 90s to 100 in California, 110 in Arizona, California again. So be careful in those areas. Shows more spots in the south, not in the south, some 90s and to the Midwest as well. So be careful in those areas for Sunday. Sunday morning does show slightly cooler on the west and warmer further east, but does show in the southwest still extremely hot even during the night. So there's day 5, Monday afternoon to 111, even 112 again in the southwest, some 90s the interior of the west, 90s the south, and even to Massachusetts, some 90s. So be careful. Monday morning, some 88 in Arizona. That's almost 90 degrees during the night. So extremely hot. Please stay cool during the night. Be careful. And like some 50s, 40s in the Rockies, and some 60s in the lower elevations, and hot in the south still. And then by July 8th, does increase to 112 again, the southwest, so very hot. Some 100 in the valleys in California and Idaho, Nevada into Washington, close to 100 in Oregon, 110 near Las Vegas. So please be careful. 90s across the south, even to 98 in Texas, the southeast. So be careful. Spots of the plains too. So those show on Tuesday morning, July 8th, to 89 degrees in Arizona during the night. Like, please stay safe. That's the minimum temperature. Please be careful. And day 7 still pending. So be careful in those areas slightly. more breezy conditions today, a few spots in the plains and in some mountains, the seas in California. So be aware, nothing too crazy. And snow, not really anything too warm. So be careful in those areas and look what we have here lurking. I'll just check the temperatures for Canada first. So there's like still across the southern prairies there, shows this extreme heat across southern Saskatchewan to Manitoba. I'll show you the storms for you as well in a minute. Shows there's some 20s and 30s. So please be careful. Those areas slightly less there on the west, but quite warm in spot in New Brunswick ahead of that front as well. So Thursday, this goes kind of colder in the western Rockies and into the northwest, and like northernmost northwestern territories as well. But shows like on July 4th, tomorrow, some 31 degrees southern Ontario, and even like central northern Ontario to 30 degrees into Manitoba. So stay safe, that heat, be careful. Later moves to central southern Ontario, to 31 degrees spots to the south. So Saturday, Sunday afternoon, southern Quebec, still in southern Ontario, even to 33 degrees in a couple of spots, possibly. So stay safe, the heat, be careful. More spots in Alaska, close to some 80s Fahrenheit, quite warm there, and spots in northwestern Canada. So stay safe. Sunday into Monday, still across southeasternmost Canada, pretty warm, then kind of hot, then does increase by the middle of next week across the west again, much warmer. So be aware in those areas. Northern Quebec doesn't increase too much, remains kind of cold a few nights and kind of mild a few days. But yeah, but the middle of next week still hot, central Canada. So be careful in those areas. Does show still this rain accumulation here for like southern northwestern territories, those storms, more to Saskatchewan, Alberta, British Columbia, and shows southern Ontario and Quebec. The Europeans even to 100 millimeters in southern Quebec and spots of Ontario even to 145 into New Brunswick as well, even southern Nova Scotia more than 100. So be careful, those storms might be heavy. Shows the GFS much less, just some 54 millimeters. The GFS, the icon kind of some 70 millimeters, but still less than the European. But be careful those storms, and does show here like those storms today. So this is Wednesday. Yesterday there were some pretty big storms yesterday, but day two Thursday still shows a severe storm or two southern Canada across Manitoba, Saskatchewan, in area B especially to like 90 km per gust, a few storms and 3 to 5 centimeter hail and some heavy rain. So be careful in those areas and some more storms in area A as well. So be aware, there's like northwestern Canada, a storm or two as well, some gusty winds. British Columbia, this is Wednesday through Thursday, so day two Thursday. Nothing really today there, but Ontario and Quebec is another story. So there's here like in two spots of southern Ontario. Today, like let's see, this is updated. So they choose a few storms with some gusty winds and some hail there as well. So stay safe. Day three, most of Western Ontario sound like some large hail, some strong winds Friday, tomorrow. So be careful. But Quebec today is very active, especially Thursday through Friday. Shows there's in area B some up to 90 km per gust and some 2 centimeter hail across the southern portion of Quebec, right next to the slight risk in the U.S. So be careful those storms. There's Atlantic and especially in New Brunswick. So that's Wednesday. Let's see Thursday here. So that moderate in New Brunswick for some hail and strong winds as well. So stay safe in those areas. Be careful in those storms. So now the tropics, there's this area in the southeast, and it's not forecast anything in the Gulf anymore. It's completely off the southeast coast. So there's a 50% chance of formation next 7 days and 10% in 48 hours. So an area of low pressure is forecast to develop along a weakening frontal boundary near Florida, the Atlantic coast of the southeastern United States by the weekend. This weekend, environmental conditions appear only marginally conducive for slow development, but tropical or subtropical depression could form in this region over the weekend early next week, while just north or northeastward. Regards development, heavy rainfall is possible across parts of the southeastern U.S., particularly in west central Florida coast. So stay safe, the heavy rainfall and everything. But this might form or not. It's still like kind of a marginal chance, and the rest is quiet for now. The Eastern Pacific still has things of its own. Tropical Storm Flossie turned into a major hurricane last few days, absolutely wild. But now it's just a tropical storm. It's weakening. There's this area already some 80% chance of formation next 7 days and 30% in 5 days. So this might become our next storm in the Pacific. The Pacific has been like non-stop storms. So let's see, an area of disturbed weather associated with a tropical wave is producing disorganized showers and thunderstorms 700 miles south of the Gulf of Temporary environmental conditions appear conducive for some gradual development of the system during the next few days. Tropical depression likely to form over the weekend or early next week around generally west northwestward. So be careful in those areas, but I don't think your heat land might head out to sea, but we'll keep looking. This year's tropical storm Flossie, it's basically almost gone, but there's still some winds with it. And here's the track, you just dissipate further out to sea, and the models take it further out, and there's its tropical storm now, and just weakening. So let's see if there are any more invests. The rest is in the Western Pacific because the other disturbance is not an invest yet. But I can show you cool things here. So let's see first for the Atlantic. So there's like the GFS tries to form this low pressure near the southeast. It doesn't quite turn into a storm, but it tries to. It might try very quickly. So keep watching. There's the European shows like this goes and shows here. This kind of forms to a low pressure. The European is like 1012 millibars. That's quite very weak, but it tries to, and then it kind of brings more storms towards North Carolina. So be careful, especially around July 6th. And the future still looks quiet, just some tiny shock waves, more rain. There's the Canadian model too, shows like it's right over Florida and it tries to form near the southeast, but the Canadian that takes this further inland and not doesn't develop it. But this goes and has another like not tropical low pressure later in the Atlantic. But we'll keep watching and just be aware the storms in those areas and everything. There's the icon, shows like it tries to form a 1011 millibars off the southeast coast. It might quickly try to become something, but like not really. There's this feature the icon has been showing near south of Bermuda on July 8th. So the icon's trying to form some other things there as well. We'll keep watching that, but the other models, none of them have that. So yeah, so here in the Eastern Pacific, there's tropical storm Flossie. This goes and dissipates, and then it tries to form this other storm further out later. So be aware, there's the European Flossie goes away, and there's this other storm that the models are developing it further further west, but it does form into something go out there. So be aware the GFS is still very crazy. So it shows Flossie there, it forms this storm there, and it does turn this into a major hurricane already by July 8th. That's quite crazy. And then it forms another one near Mexico. But this is totally hypothetical. This probably won't happen because it's exaggerating too much, but it does indicate more storms in the future in the Eastern Pacific to watch. So that's worth watching as well. There's the tropical storm probabilities, the European, the Atlantic. All right, it shows some 30 to 40% in a few spots there. So be aware. It shows like right near Florida, those areas. This goes shows still by July 7th, some 34%, and then the chances get lower later, and then it drifts further northeast. But yeah, be aware, there's tropical depression probability. The tropical depression probability is already to 80%, some 80 to 90%. this goes still by July 7th, July 8th, some 80%, and this goes. But this doesn't mean a tropical depression will form. It just means like there's a very high chance because the model did show some low pressure. There's some 1012 millibars. That's almost it. So there's a high chance, but it doesn't mean it will become. But be careful in those areas. So shows like the ensembles, the European, they try to. There's some general good support there near the southeast, but this might not be tropical. But this drifts northeast and shows right close to North Carolina the greatest support, like tries to form near Florida and Georgia, and then goes northeast. But this might not really be that tropical. The GFS is kind of lower support, but still has a bunch of squiggly lines further into the northwestern Atlantic. So yeah, we'll keep watching, but in the near future, nothing else to watch here. It's quiet, but later to the end of July, we might need to watch some more shock waves, but that's still kind of far. So be aware in those areas and like stay safe. So here, there's still these rains, like for Mexico in those areas. So shows like still across the Europeans trending across Western Mexico now to like 158 millimeters. So stay safe in those areas. Central Mexico, some heavier downpours. This portion northeastern Mexico into Texas is having some very heavy rain as well, right close to Texas there in New Mexico. So stay safe in those areas. The European is a good amount in central Texas as well. It shows even to like some 3 inches in 5 days, so be careful. Shows now near the southeast is that low pressure charge to form, and some more stronger showers and storms throughout Central America, some 70 to 100 millimeters in a spot or two, more around Central America, those showers and storms. The GFS has like some 80, more than 80 millimeters in Nicaragua and still in Costa Rica, close to 100, a few spots, some stronger storms there. So be careful in those areas and always be careful this like these showers and storms. The icon, some strong storms central Mexico. There's this area in western Mexico, the icon's like to 200 or more millimeters. So this area should really pay attention. Lluvias muy fuertes unas partes de México en el Pacífico, sí, y centro de México. Precauciones. So yeah, be careful and like this area close to Texas as well. So stay safe. The icon's kind of close to 5 inches or some 4 to 5 inches near the southwest coast of Florida. That's also interesting, but the other models are like much less. So that's just one scenario. There in the Eastern Caribbean, still those tropical waves, some showers and a few storms. So still be careful, a few lingering showers and storms. Nothing too crazy, but always be careful around Cuba and Jamaica as well, the Cayman Islands, Dominican Republic. So be aware, especially like those some regular afternoon storms in a few areas, and especially Central America. So stay safe. And the show northwestern Mexico is very hot as well. So shows even especially next week more than 40 degrees by Sunday to like 44 degrees spots in western Mexico as well. So please be careful this heat still in more spots of southern Mexico and eastern areas are quite hot still. So beware Sunday into Monday still northwestern Mexico and more spots still quite hot near the Yucatan. So stay safe in those areas, be careful. The image of the day is this big cumulonimbus thunderstorm from a few days ago that I took a picture. So yeah, stay safe.